What happens when all the posturing, the internet hype, and the pay-per-view math combust into one emotion-fueled moment under the lights? What happens when a press conference stops being a media circus and becomes the moment a real fight ignites? That's exactly what we witnessed today. Gervonta "Tank" Davis didn't settle for the usual trash talk or stage stare-downs. He walked into a packed room, stared Jake Paul dead in the eye, and screamed loud enough for the cameras and everyone in the arena to hear. This was a raw, dangerous escalation, one that changed the energy around the fight in an instant. Everyone who thought this was another payday spectacle suddenly understood the stakes. This is real. And in boxing, real is what sells out stadiums and rewrites legacies.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. Does Davis have a chance?
Gervonta is a fucking great boxer, but he ain't gonna do shit. Fucking Jake Paul.
So you got Jake Paul by knockout, or?
No, I don't got anybody, but I don't think.
He's just too small.
It just. I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually. I'm not hating on the fight, but I think. My thoughts on it is let's watch and see what happens.
The press conference started like any other. Agents, PR teams, streaming links, journalists with notebooks, and a sea of phones trying to catch the moment. Jake Paul looked the part of the provocateur, confident, smirking, already baiting headlines with prep jabs. Tank walked in with that chilling calm he reserves for the real moments. No theatrics, no goofy social media energy, just a fighter who knows his power.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off of you if you guys fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down.
Gervonta,
I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
For months, the conversation around this fight has revolved around size and spectacle. Jake says he's prepared to fight anyone. He's used his size, weight, and reach to intimidate. And he's repeatedly insisted he's a legitimate boxer who deserves the payday and the prestige.
Jake Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over with.
Tank, meanwhile, has been criticized for taking fights that look good on paper but apparently do nothing for legacy. He skipped a rematch with Lamont Roach, he's been accused of cash-first decisions, and now he's staring down the man who represents everything the boxing purists love to hate about crossover events.
Tank is done. Tank is hung him up, shoes off, get the bag, put a plaque up, he done. Tank is done.
When you say done, you mean like not fighting anymore?
Tank is checked out mentally. Tank is gone mentally. Tank looking for the big bag of Jake Paul, Pacquiao, something solo, and he's looking to, hey, I'll see you later. Tank is standing, he's not gonna fight Shakur Stevenson at all. At all. I don't care how much money Turkey offer, give him 4 Lamborghinis, whatever. Tank ain't taking that fight.
When Tank finally spoke, it wasn't a rehearsed promo. It wasn't a slick soundbite. It was violent, absolutely unfiltered, and honest. The words split the room. Jake's face went from smug to confused and then to anger. His handlers lunged forward. Security, trained to separate heat from hysteria, had to move faster than they'd practiced. The crowd surged. Cameras flared. That one sentence reframed everything.
Bro, when people, what I got from that is he's a hater. You don't know me as a person. Let's say you don't like me. Like, you don't know me. Like, you feel me? And I don't give a fuck. Him. And everybody in the crew with him. I mean, with him.
Tank, question for you. You're a proud father.
Why did Tank go that hard? Because this fight has always been about more than money for him, at least in theory. Since his shaky night with Lamont Roach, Tank's reputation has been fragile.
Clearly in there, man. I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the bills. I've been telling y'all that. I'm just glad I got to show it, honestly. I'm glad I got to show it. I appreciate, like I said before, I appreciate True Boxing Media. Some guys that didn't count me out. So that's just how I feel, man. I think I won. And, I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to dance again.
Roach exposed him, and the rematch that was supposed to right the ship never happened. Fans didn't forget. They wanted Tank to answer for that performance.
Tank did that, so I know the got in his eye, but they should have countered it. They would have countered it, would have went to Lamont Roach. What I didn't like about Tank, he was gassing up Lamont Roach way too much, and he was already talking about like retiring.
He seemed a little distracted, didn't he, in the fight?
That wasn't the same Gervonta Davis we're really used to seeing.
It just lets you know how corrupt like these governing bodies are, bro. If that dude took a knee, not only did he take a knee, he's like, hold on real quick. Let me get this out of my eye. How is that not a point? Like,
funny thing, bro, that's why I cut my braids off. I had braids, and I had the same thing. I went through the same when I fought Andre, that shit was burning my eyes, so I cut that off.
He didn't. Now he's facing Jake Paul, a man 6 weight classes heavier and walking around size. A stranger to Tank's world, but not necessarily to the mechanics of a punch landing clean.
Would you fight Jake Paul?
Nah.
He too big? He too big?
Yeah, Jake big, but he doing his thing. Man, let Jake do what Jake
Got $200 million for you.
I'm fighting Jake Paul. I'm fighting Jake Paul. Come on, Jake.
Tank's outburst was part frustration, part warning. He has watched men use size and spectacle to hijack boxing headlines. He also remembers what happens when someone disrespects him in person. Tank's temper is real. His power is real. And by shouting the words he did, he moved this event from the category of crossover curiosity to actual grudge match. This is a fight that now carries a threat, and threats in boxing are terrifyingly literal.
How about Jake? What do you think of Jake?
Clown.
Yeah.
He's a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if someone, if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough
Yeah,
for
would you ever
to
do a
take...
fight like that?
I feel as though in my career, I can't do that right now.
Jake's reaction was immediate and revealing. He tried to laugh it off, to sell that all this was part of the show, the YouTube-era energy that keeps clicks coming. But for the first time in his crossover run, the act looked thin. You could see confusion, followed by the glare of someone who recognized the line he'd crossed with the wrong person.
I'm fighting Gervonta Davis on
wow.
Netflix. Let's go. People think that he could actually beat me, and people think he could outbox me, and he's so powerful and this and that. That's what makes it a good fight. November 14th, Netflix.
Jake has been in controlled chaos before. He's baited opponents. But Tank's line wasn't bait. It was a direct charge. People don't yell the words Tank yelled unless they mean them.
Oh, Lord. I'm sorry. I'm just in a silly, goofy mood.
When you step back and really look at it, this whole fight with Jake Paul might be Tank's biggest mistake. Legacy-wise, it's a nightmare.
This doesn't do anything for Tank besides put money in his pocket. And I'm not blaming him. I'd probably, maybe I'd do the same thing if I'm Tank. But ultimately, Tank has said many times that he's just trying to make his money and get out of the sport. And a lot of the times people ask him, don't you want to fight guys that are champions and whatnot? And Tank has said, belts don't matter. And to an extent, boxing has become so saturated with belts to the point where, belts don't really matter as much as they did.
Instead of chasing real fights that could cement him as one of the all-time greats, like facing Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, or even getting redemption against Lamont Roach, he's choosing to fight a YouTuber turned boxer. And that's why so many people are calling this move flat out stupid.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
there's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Tank isn't the same fighter anymore. The hunger, the aura, the fear he once carried into the ring, it's faded. Back in the day, he was relentless, obsessed with proving he was the most dangerous fighter alive. But now, he's chasing checks and clout more than true competition.
Holy shit, Jake Paul versus Tank Davis is actually happening. What the f is going on? I guess Tank is going broke because that's the only justifiable reason you ruin your legacy against a guy like Jake Paul. And yes, I do think Jake Paul is going to win. Tank Davis is a much better boxer and has crazy power, but he's 5'5", 130. That power is not going to carry over against someone who is 6'1", 210. And it's not like Jake is bad. Yes, his fights are boring. He says he's going to step in the ring and sleep his opponents, but the only people who end up sleeping are the audience. Mike Tyson fight. But at the end of the day, he's a big guy with power who's training boxing full time, and he has beaten some legitimate competition. Woodley, Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, Mike Perry had a competitive fight with Tommy Fury. But it's crazy how particular Jake has to be when selecting his opponents. They have to have enough clout to be interesting, enough skill to be taken seriously as a threat, but at the same time have clear weaknesses and disadvantages that Jake and his team can exploit to win. Now that he's fighting an elite boxer, he has to fight someone 7 weight classes down. I mean, Tank could win if he makes Jake do a very aggressive weight cut, but I just don't see that happening. I got Jake by 3rd round TKO. He should put me on the co-main event and allow me to fight Francis Ngannou. That would be an easy first round knockout for myself.
And while Jake Paul brings eyeballs, it does nothing for Tank's boxing legacy. If anything, it only proves what critics have been saying for years, that Tank is more interested in being a celebrity than being remembered as a generational fighter.
Jake is big, Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
And there's the weight element that won't go away. Jake walks around huge. He's been doing his conditioning to carry that weight into boxing frames, and it changes the math.
100%. He should beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
But you don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. Do you think that
shouldn't?
You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
5'5".
That's
You
what I'm
got
saying.
Jake Paul
He's
6'1".
a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a weight advantage.
Tank has speed, timing, and power in his natural classes. He has never shown consistent results above 140 pounds. That mismatch has always been the wild card. Yet Tank's outburst now reframes the calculus. He's signaling psychological readiness, perhaps even a willingness to bet his legacy on one brutal night.
How do I even start to break down a Tank Davis versus Jake Paul fight? Tank, you know, a massively powerful fighter at 135 pounds, but his punch output is among the lowest in the sport. Jake has a pretty decent punch output for a guy that's 200 pounds. He hits hard in his own right, but doesn't have the skill and capabilities anywhere close, or the feet, or the hand speed, or the eyes anywhere close to Tank Davis, but has a power that Tank Davis has probably never felt, but just because Jake is naturally 70 pounds bigger than him, right? So 10 rounds, 3 minutes, who starts to show the wear and tear first? I know if Tank touches him on the jaw, it's probably not going to feel like roses, regardless if he's 135 or 150 or whatever he steps in that night. He's still a Tank and has still put guys down as he's gone up in weight, but Jake is just so much bigger. How much will the power that Tank has at the lower weight classes affect?
But what does this mean inside the arena? Trash talk is cheap. A headline gets clapped into the timeline and replaced by the next trend. In boxing, the only thing that matters is what happens when the gloves lace.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're going to do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're going to spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. my skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
Tank's outburst doesn't change physics or ring dynamics. Jake's size remains a real variable. The question is whether Tank's heart, ferocity, and single punch power can neutralize Jake's size and durability.
Is the burnt bridge with my brother unfixable?
I don't hate your brother. You guys need to fight guys your same size. When you fought Floyd, you are massive. He did hit you with a fucking bomb, and you fucking ate it. He's gonna fight Gervonta Davis. Who do you got? Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than Floyd, but he's too small. Your brother's gonna be able to get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up.
I hear your critique on fighting guys the same size as you. Is that why you guys wouldn't let me fight Conor?
Yeah, you're fucking huge. Conor weighs 145 pounds, 155 pounds.
Yeah, but he says he can beat me.
And if Jake can weather the early storm and use his weight to control the tempo, that day could be a career-defining upset. Professionals in the game have been vocal. Shakur Stevenson called the whole circus an insult to the sport, arguing that fighters should be testing themselves against genuine contenders, not entertainers.
So are these gimmick exhibition matches like Jake Paul versus Tank Davis or Floyd versus Tyson good or bad for the sport of boxing?
I mean, I feel like in Floyd and Tyson situation is different than Jake Paul and Buddy. I feel like with Floyd and Tyson, it's like, okay, y'all deserve it. Y'all legends, y'all paid homage, y'all did the most for the sport of boxing already. So you deserve a big payday and be cool. I'm cool with it. I like it. But with Jake and Buddy, I feel like Buddy is a participate in the sport of boxing right now, and he just came off a draw his last fight. So if you're a real champion and top level guy that you say you are, which I think you are too, I think you're the truth. But if you're that guy and you just came off a draw, I think rematching will be the most competitive thing to do. With the Jake Paul situation, it's a money grab fight. So to me, it's like some WWE shit.
He's right in the purest sense, but fights aren't just fights anymore. They're careers monetized by moments. Ryan Garcia also doubled down.
Bro, that's a fucking disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it. But
yeah,
he was 60 years old. I mean, the casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter.
Yeah.
Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
Ryan Garcia said that this fight is going to turn boxing into WWE, and it's a circus of a matchup. I mean, he's got a point.
What do you think of Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis? I know on Instagram you called it a circus.
Yeah, boxing is slowly turning into the WWE. That's what I think.
Does Tank Davis have a chance?
Yes, but
yeah?
I don't even want to talk about it. Don't ask me questions like that again.
Teofimo Lopez said that the bag matters and that fighters have a right to make money.
You want a Tank and Jake type fight?
Nah, that's theirs. Let them have that.
What do you think about that? You think Gervonta has a better chance of knocking Jake out than Jake has a chance of knocking Gervonta out?
Well, I'll tell you this, man. From the height difference, Gervonta gonna have to hit him on the low blows and the belly button, bro, because that's all he gonna reach. I think it's great, man. No matter what, man, it's giving the boxing culture something to look into.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, it could be comical to a lot of people. It's a circus act, whatever you want, blah blah blah. But it's entertainment, and I think everyone's gonna want to tune in. Gervonta Tank Davis. It's sad we never was able to get a fight in. Got to do what you got to do, but I get it, man. You got kids, you got a wife, or baby mom, whatever it is. But, you know, you got to make your money, yo. You're going to make your money, you're going to call it quits. And, you know, I don't blame you on that part, you know. And Jake Paul, you know, do what you got to do. Don't get knocked out and keep it cool.
Daniel Cormier reminded everyone not to underestimate Jake's athleticism and size.
With Tyron Woodley, twice. Big numbers. Jake Paul fought against Tommy Fury, big numbers. Jake Paul, who I believe, and I have told you guys this time and time again, he's much better than people give him credit for. One, Jake Paul is not an amateur fighter. like some try to say, Jake Paul has money, so Jake Paul is getting trained by the best boxing coaches that money can buy. He's full-time boxing. There are a lot of people that say he may do some other stuff. I don't know who he was going to fight that was saying that he was juiced up and he was ignoring him. Or was it Logan Paul? One of them. But at the end of the day, this kid's training to be the best fighter in the world, or the best as he can be, and he understands what losing would do to the perception of who he is in fighting. We were young.
KSI, Jake's biggest rival, may have just said what we all are too afraid to admit. No one cares about this fight.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No one cares.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.